Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you going to sleep after eating? Well, it's a great pleasure and great honor for me to introduce our speaker for this program this afternoon, Miss Jackie Curtis. She needs no introduction, really, because she comes over here quite often, sometimes just to have lunch with us, sometimes to sing for us. She has such a thunderously sweet, beautiful voice. I think some of you have heard her sing, right? And sometimes she comes over here to thank us for what we do for her organization, Communities in Schools, which is like 20 years old now. She's been working that Community in Schools program for a long, long time, and she just loves her community. And I first met her maybe 20 years ago when her program was still in the formative years, which were just starting. She came to my office when I was the director at the Dublin campus of Middle Georgia State University, and she was looking for volunteers, you know, because it was a small organization back then. But boy, has she built it up to be a big, big organization now. It has grown by leaps and bounds, and it shows her love for the community. So it's an honor to have her with us today to speak to us about what she is doing in the community, our community, and other surrounding communities. So without much ado, here, please, with me, come help me welcome Miss Jackie Curtis.
I just want Mr. Micaiah to go with me everywhere, introduce me. Because
oh, yeah, right.
You made me sound fabulous. The last time I was here, Will Curry asked me to come back on today and to speak to you about love, and specifically about the love of this community. And so I'm very happy to be here on this day that we recognize around the world for love. Anybody in love here today? I'm the only one. Raising these hands. You with your wife, your hands should be up like that. That's what I'm saying. I celebrated 32 years of marriage on Wednesday, so I'm still basking in my love glow. But I want to talk about love today, and not the love that we're celebrating today, but the love for each other and for our community. Love can be described as an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest or pleasure in something. And the meaning of love can't really be explained. It has to be experienced, and who doesn't want to experience love? So what is love really, and how does it work? Now, Mr. Micaiah alluded to the fact that I sing on occasion. So I've heard some songs that talk about love, heard some when we came in today and Jack started dancing and I asked him to please stop immediately. It's not the way we want that to go. But I've heard songs say that love is like a river, or love is like an undying flame, and yet others say that love is like a warm breeze. Tina Turner asked the question, what's love got to do with it? I don't think she was real happy at that time. So how can love be so many different things and yet be the same? I like what Dionne Warwick said. She said that what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, just not for some, but for everyone. Now, according to Psychology Today, there are 7 types of love. But when we think of love, we most often think of the eros, or the romantic love, which is the love that you have for your spouse or partner. It's the love that we're celebrating today and hopefully every day with the one you love. There's also the love that we have for our family and our children. But the type of love that I really want to focus on today is agape love. And that is a universal love for strangers, nature, or God. The Greek word agape is translated as love in the New Testament. And how is agape love different from other types of love? Well, the essence of agape love is goodwill, benevolence, and willful delight in the object of love. Unlike our English word love, agape is not used in the New Testament to refer to romantic love, nor does it refer to close, friendly, or brotherly love. but it involves faithfulness, commitment, and an act of will. It is distinguished from other types of love by its lofty moral nature and its strong character. And it's beautifully described in 1 Corinthians 13, which says, "If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, then I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when completion comes, what in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in the mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Agape love is the reason that you can sit in this room today and have this mixture of people with various occupations, interests, gender, and race to come together to work for common causes and the common good. So how do we operate in agape love? How can we show love in our community? Because while I think it's very important that we love our spouse and love our children and even ourselves, it is paramount that we love our community. And I believe that we live in one of the greatest communities in this world. We live in Dublin, Georgia. We are green and growing. Now, there will always be things in our community that we don't like and things that we would like to improve, but there are so many more reasons that we should love this community. We are more than a rest stop. According to Georgia Trend magazine, we are a city of excellence, and our main street is considered to be one of the best in the state. Even when times are tough, our community gives back. We rally together and we take care of our community and its people. And the work that you do here in Rotary truly demonstrates that. Secondly, our community has done an amazing job of revitalizing downtown and making it a place where people want to be. Now, I'm going to say that I think the food downtown is probably a large part of that. And I think we have some of the best food in this state and restaurants as well. The Martin Theater is a jewel for our city and downtown, and the arts are also very important to our community. We have great hospitality and host one of the most amazing St. Patrick festivals in the state that brings people from all over to our community. And they come back year after year because we're so loving and we're so welcoming. This community also has the distinction of being the location where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his first public speech. How great is that? And recently, we showed that we know how to support our local sports. Our community knows how to support the local teams, and this year, when Dublin High School won the football championship, it wasn't a city school thing versus a county school thing. And even though I'm a proud Raider, my daughter is a proud Irish, and we fight about that all the time. It wasn't about that when football championship time came. It was a win for this entire community, and the whole community had no problem supporting our Dublin Irish. We're very fortunate to live in a community that has a strong sense of family. And that's what I love about Dublin. We're one big family. It's a great place to live, work, and play. I enjoyed growing up here. I grew up in Dexter, and it's always been my dream to have my family here and for us to live here and give back to the community that has given so much to me. I'm fortunate to be a part of a nonprofit community and have been supported by so many of you in the room, and I thank you. Your heart shows every day for this community. So when you leave here today, on this day of love, I want you to remember what true love means. It means providing a space, a community for all to thrive, all to feel valued, all to feel supported, and all to feel wanted. Remember that the best part of a community is its people. It's the things we do for the people. It's not the buildings, it's not the roads, it's not the streets, it's not the signs, it's not the businesses, it's the people. So let's continue to love our community and make it a place where people want to live, work, and play. Thank you.
I thought I'd lost my business in that fire, but my agent was there before the flames were out. He said, together, we're gonna rebuild. Our employees depended on it. My independent agent and auto owners made sure we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't miss a single payroll.
For whatever lies ahead, we're always there.
Curry Maffett Insurance, now located in downtown Dublin. Call 272-1234.
Just briefly, as Mr. McKay said, Communities and Schools has been going strong for 20 years. We're very proud to be a part of this community. But I was sharing with him that in addition to Communities and Schools, I've branched out, and I'm now the director of programs with Big Brothers Big Sisters, working out of Macon. And so we are very hopeful that we can bring that program back to Lawrence County. It was here many years ago. And so I'm just proud to be a part of this community and have programs that support our youth. Thank you.
No, it's not over. It's not over. Okay, so how many kids do you serve in Communities and Schools, since we just kind of went into that?
Okay, well, I was trying to let y'all go by those gifts that I know you haven't heard yet. We serve 3 school systems, Lawrence County, Dublin City, and Twiggs County. And with all of our programs, the things that we do in school, the things that we do after school, we serve about 4,000 kids a year in various programs. One of our biggest programs is an absence education program. We've received absence education funding for the past, how old is my child? Almost 14 years. And so we're able to go into schools, teach abstinence, and encourage children to live their best life, which includes remaining abstinent and not having children while they're in high school.
Awesome. Don't go anywhere. Anyone? Dr. McKay? Oh, do you have questions?
No. No. We want to thank, Ms. Jake Curtis for coming to talk to us. It's not funny, she has done a wonderful job. I didn't go over a bio. It's really brief, a biographical sketch. I didn't do that because if we were trying to include everything, we were going to run out of space, given the things that she does in the community. So we are so proud of her for being part of our community. So thanks a lot for everything you do for us. Thank you.
All right, well, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Jackie. I think you're completely off the hook now. Until afterwards. So if anybody has questions, or if you think of questions that you want to ask Jackie, please come up after. She'll be here for a little bit. Happy to answer questions for everybody. So, Brian Nash is standing in for Francis today. Truly appreciate you. Let's give it up to Brian Nash. That was awesome. I'm used to it.
Well, speaking of love on this type of day, was talking with the Moores earlier, and Miss June was telling me a story. Several years ago, she woke up in the middle of the night, and Mr. Hugh wasn't in the bed, so she decided she was going to walk downstairs. She saw him sitting at the kitchen table, and she's like, "Well, Hugh, why aren't you in bed?" He's like, "Well, I was just thinking, this has been 20 years that since the first night we went out." And she kind of got a little bit of a tear in her eye. I thought, well, this is really sweet. So she sat down and he's like, "You remember on our first date how your dad caught us making out in the car?" She's like, "Yeah." Thinking, "Oh, this is really sweet." And it's like, "You remember him sticking the shotgun in my face and saying, if you don't marry my daughter, I'll put you in prison for 20 years. She kind of got a chuckle, and they both were kind of crying a little bit over it. And he looked down and he looked back up and he said, I'd be free today. And she left early. That was for her today. I didn't count like Francis normally does, but there's 30. Oh, good. We had more people here last week than we normally do. But I do see some names on here that are also here in the room. So on behalf of Francis, now would be good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Brian. So I've been out of town for a couple of weeks. I appreciate Will Curry standing in for me 2 weeks ago, and then Susan last week. So I know it was kind of nice to you know, have not me up here for a few weeks. But you know, get a preview of Will for next year. He's going to be awesome. We appreciate everything he does. He's got some great programs lined up for us. I have some announcements. You have a flyer on your table for the district conference, and Rick and I have talked a lot about this, and we're really going to make every effort to make this as fun as we can. We're gonna spend some money. We'll spend some money this year. So you guys sign up. If you got to get in there early to get a hotel reservation at the places where we'll be. But if you don't, there's other options certainly. But we're going to do a lot to try and make that a fun thing. So we'd love to see a lot of people show up for that this year. The online registration is now open, so you can go ahead and do that. So this week we handed out the Gifted Hands books to the 5th graders all over Lawrence County. We had a lot of people who showed up to help do that, so really appreciate all of you guys who did. If you go onto the OFTC website, you can see a lot of the pictures from all the schools that we went to. We also posted some of them on the Rotary website as well. So check that out. Really a great program. The kids were thrilled with those books. They'd actually, a lot of the kids had heard about the books from the previous year, from the kids who were there last year that read it. And I told the story that my son Judd is really not a reader. I mean, he's a reader. He can read. He's not the fastest reader, but this was a book that even he loved. So I think they'll all love it. And I appreciate that Janet Smith at FTC kind of headed that up for us and made it happen. So please tell her that we appreciate that.